本節目內容只代表個別嘉賓及主持個人意見，並不代表本台立場。
各位好，我哋宇宙人第6集咧又開始啦，不經不覺。今日咧我哋好犀利啊！我哋唔講中文，講英文，甚至講法文啊 ！Bonjour， 各位，我哋今日咧就會介紹。你有冇聽過阿米星星的小孩嘅作者？佢哋咪寫一本自傳呢，就唔知真唔知假，就係佢同一個小朋友個外星人呢就有啲奇遇。咁呢本書就翻譯咗好多國嘅語文，風行世界嘅。不過嗱，今日我哋未必請到呢一位作家，但係另一位呢，我哋係新相識嘅一位法國人。去到喺加拿大籍，喺加拿大住。咁喺7年前呢，佢話我要睇下個世界，即係屋企呢有啲遭遇啦嚇。咁佢就話好，咁我就 end up 呢，佢就 end up 去咗中國國內嘅吉林大學教酒店管理嘅呢位好大份嘅 Mr. Gerard Breissan。咁佢呢就中意我哋叫佢做 Mr.B 嘅，因為喺學校呢。學生都希望咧唔好講錯佢嘅名，就叫做 Mr.B。咁陪同佢嚟嘅咧，其實一個古仔好得意嘅，就係呢一位喺香港住，曾經喺浸會大學度教英國文學嘅一位女士，係英國籍嘅 Miss Dr. Gillian Bickley。佢譯自己做白潔蓮博士，好美麗嘅名啊！咁其實咧就佢就出版Mr.B 嘅呢本自傳式嘅外星人故事嘅書，結果呢，我就咁樣認識咗佢。我話好啊，有呢個外星人故事嘅書，我哋就嚟錄一集呢三文兩語嘅節目，睇下點，睇個點。好啦，咁佢呢個公司叫 Provost Hong Kong 文韻啊，咁有啲書呢都係喺呢個中大嘅出版商 CU Press 度發行。咁 Mr.B 寫嘅呢本書呢，我哋同一班朋友都睇過略啦。咁裏面有好多問題呢，仍然係懸空而未解決嘅。咁究竟呢本書究竟係一個親身經驗嘅報告啊，抑或一個只不過係一個自傳式嘅 UFO 經驗嘅小説呢？就等你自己嚟做判斷啦。陣間呢，你聽就即管聽，至於個結論呢，就由你自己去落啦。Okay, Mr. Gerard Breissan, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning.
So nice to have you here. So this book that you just wrote and distributed, it's called The Day They Came.
Could you
introduce a little bit about the content of it?
The Day They Came is a story really in different parts of my life, starting from a really early age, 12 years old, until age 21. There are certain facts which occurred in my life, which involved UFOs and some different events. So I decided to write about it. I felt at one point throughout my life that I felt compelled to write the book, and that will be of big interest, very interesting to people.
So Mr.B 話咧，佢寫呢本書嘅緣起啦，就係咧佢其實呢本書咧就係寫佢去到21歲，好似係12歲嚇，去到21歲之前咧，佢喺唔同嘅國家嘅地方，好似係非洲加埋，陣間問佢嚇，就係佢覺得佢好似咧 compel， 即係好似咧，即係好似我咁啦嚇，即係咧攞埋條命出嚟做，唔可以唔做。蝕晒身家都要做，總之要做佢出嚟嘅一樣嘢，咁就係寫呢一本書啦。So from what age that was and which country it happened, the whole story?
The story takes place in France.
喺法國。
And I'm from south of France.
故仔南法國。
And Provence. So starting age 12.
12歲喺南法。
In my hometown.
12歲喺佢嘅家鄉南法國一個鎮叫做
Provel。And then it carries on to when I go to the military service and do some operation in Africa, and there some story take place in Germany. when we were doing exercise in Germany.
即係佢當軍嘅時候咧，就曾經去過德國嘅。咁喺德國咧，亦都發生咗有一啲佢講緊呢啲全部都係有點而係外星偶遇嘅邂逅嘅古仔嚟嘅，就係德國當軍嘅時候都有一啲古仔發生。咁跟住咧 and then
some part also in south of France still by the water, by the Mediterranean Sea.
咁等咧佢就去到呢個南法國嘅軍營喺啲水度咁有呢個 USO 啦 ，unidentified swimming object 不明游水物體。Okay, and then?
And then, well, it finishes after my some action in Africa, in Congo.
Are you in the military still then?
I was in the military.
仍然係當緊軍
I
就
was
去
out
咗
of
非
when I
洲
was
剛
in
果。
when I was in Congo. I was out of the military and doing some work for France and some private in Congo, and then go back to my hometown, and then the book ends because at that stage I'm going to leave France for England.
咁就去到咧，最後由非洲剛果翻返去家鄉，喺家鄉都有啲古仔南法國，然後咧佢就去英國啦。What do you do in England then?
Well, that's not in this book, but when I went to England, actually I went to work in the hospitality industry because that's my field.
Okay.
Hotel and went to college at the same time, study and work.
從此咧，咁當完軍咧，好後生咋，咁去到英國，咁佢就讀佢嘅酒店管理，讀大學啦。咁我自己都識得駁落去啦。咁讀完酒店大學咧，咁就屋企發生啲嘢，令到佢好受刺激，佢就要去睇全世界，於是就去咗中間 end up 咧，就7年前就去咗中國嘅吉林大學教酒店管理。I'll add up your story that from doing the hospitality management study in college in UK. You went to something happened with a family, and then you end up seeing the world, around the world, and end up in Gillian University 7 years ago.
I worked in the hospitality industry most of my life, and I trained in the hospitality industry, so I traveled a lot. In 2005, I came to China, on the mainland. I worked in the Jilin province at Jilin University Lambton College, where I teach hospitality management.
Oh, it's Gillian University London College.
Lambton.
That's Chinese name?
It's a Canadian name.
Canadian in
It's
Lambton.
a partnership.
So it's a Canadian college in a Gillian University.
Yes. And,
okay. 就係呢個法國 Is it French, the Lambton?
Lambton is Canadian.
Canadian, OK. 係一個加拿大嘅 Lambton 學院，喺呢個吉林大學裏邊其中一個分部。2005年咧，佢就去到嗰度，咁就落籍吉林，至到而家啦，久唔久都喺香港出現嘅一個，我哋可以都叫 alien 嘅係嘛？即係總之佢唔係市民啊，如果攞咗綠卡咧，都係叫 alien 噶嘛。Mr.B Sometimes we call alien for resident of foreign countries, right?
It's true.
So we have a visiting alien in Hong Kong from Gillian University once in a while.
That's right.
Okay. So now, let me summarize. You have, when you were in the military service, you have story from each of these stops, which is Germany, Southern French, and then the African Congo, and also your hometown. So it's 4 stops of at least 4 ET encounter story.
Yeah, 4 events.
Oh.
4 events throughout the early part, 12 to 16, then 12 to 16, early part. Okay. That's my first encounter.
頭先我哋講嗰4個地方咧，只係早年嘅啫，12至16歲嗰4個地方，每一個地方都有一個E.T. 邂逅故事，咁然後後期咧 and then the later stage after 16.
Then first I will explain clearly. First part, 12 years old, my first encounter in south of France. Then some activities take place with the alien when I am in south of France, still a little older, with the Boy Scouts. I was a Boy Scout I was a
Boy Scout.
Boy
Okay.
Scout, yes.
Are we going into the story in Germany now?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
And then I go into part of the book later on, my military service. Then I was in Germany. There is some activity of alien in Germany.
So should we just stay with this part, or should we go to the next part?
I will finish it.
Okay.
And then there is Congo after the military service. Some activities with the alien too. And then that's where the book will end. When I'm back from Congo, I'm back home, and I'm going to England.
Right, we're repeating already. Yeah. So let's go into each part of this story here. It sounds
Okay.
exciting.
If you want to, no
Oh
problem.
yes, that's why you're here. OK 嗱，佢頭先就重複咗一次，咁我又重複一次嘅，大家唔好意思下。咁咧就由12至16歲，佢去咗4個地方，就係德國、南法國、非洲同家鄉。從軍嗰陣時，呢4個地方都有4個 UFO 故事。我唔好重複啦，入正題啦，講古啦。OK， 第一站德國。First up, Germany. Tell us the Germany alien story.
You want Germany? That's
yes,
in the middle.
yes.
That's in the middle. It's not the real beginning.
OK, the real beginning. OK 嗱，佢
You
有
want
個
the
真正
beginning?
嘅開
You
始。
want the beginning?
OK， 開
Okay,
始。
because you should have the first encounter.
Okay.
When I was 12 years
第一
old.
次。
When I was first 12 years
12
old.
歲。
Yeah. And I was with friends, and I was in a camp, youth camp.
童軍 Boy Scout
Yeah.
camp。
Not Boy Scout yet.
No,
With just church camp. Just church
教
camp.
會嗰啲露
I
營。
was 12, yeah. And then I saw the UFO landing. I meet a person who is an alien, but looks like you and I.
人樣個外星人。
Yeah.
12歲。
And very tall.
好高。
Difference is very tall.
Adult looking。
Yeah, adult looking.
係一個大人嘅外星人。
Handsome and tall.
靚仔高大。
Yeah.
人樣。
Yes. Long,
男人嚟㗎。
long blonde hair.
Man not lady。
Not lady.
OK， 高大靚仔嘅男人外星人。
So red belt with a stone, with a special
Okay,
stone.
喺呢個
Red boots.
喺呢個好粗嘅皮帶中間有嚿石頭，然後一個紅色嘅 boot 去。
Red boots. So I meet that person. I become friend with him. I make it. I
What
shorten
did
the
you
story.
say the first thing?
Well, the first thing we don't know. I was very scared. I was,
I
I didn't know what to say.
唔知
But
講乜。
then I found myself in the UFO laying down. They
哦，
did some
跟住下一秒鐘佢就覺得自己瞓咗喺架飛碟上面。
yeah. Then everything was fine. I meet the person. He spoke perfect French with me.
The
And-
ET speak perfect French。
Oh yeah, speak many languages.
哦，係啦，我都話噶啦，平均每個外星人落到嚟地球至少識70種語言噶嘛。70 language they speak earthly language
Yes.
average from what I read。
Yes, everywhere they go,
咁
they
佢
can
話佢
learn the
講
language
完全
quickly.
完美嘅法文，同埋佢話佢無論去到邊咧，佢都會係即刻差唔多識得彈一個當地嘅語言同你講嘢嘅。
So we met, we talked, and he had work to do. And then I'm back down the field, and they are gone. So that was my really first encounter.
第一
And
次咧就話我有嘢做啦，好，下次再見，咁佢就飛走咗啦。咁呢個係佢第一次嘅偶遇。
but he tells me that he will be back, and if I have difficulties and everything, he will always help me.
哇！佢話嗱，有咩有事有難，你 call 我，我即刻到。咦，好阿拉丁神燈我好喎。
So the second part important is when I was a Boy Scout,
第二次
a
喺
little older, and maybe 14 to 15.
OK， 14、15歲嘅時候啦，第二次啦。
We did exercise at night with the Boy Scout to climb rocks, to climb
OK，
cliff,
童軍啊，爬石、爬懸崖啊。
rock climbing. And an accident took place with our leader. He fell
哦，個頭有意外跌親。
and almost died coming down the cliff. Then
What happened?
then this person again appears.
How did he happen?
Because
Just
because part of the book is that I think of him. I ask for help. I know they can do things extraordinary, and so as I call, as I pray for him, he appears.
咁啊跌親個頭，咁啊爭啲都唔知會唔會死咧，咁佢就覺得好驚，咁佢就覺得要祈禱，要 ask for help， 即係希望有人嚟到幫佢。And how did he show up at the spot?
At the spot, he showed up from the flying saucer above, bring my friends up, and fix the wounds on board of the spaceship.
And you
and
were
bring
on
them
board
back.
as well to
Yes,
see all these.
Yeah. I couldn't see everything, like, because I couldn't get into the operating room, but I see it from the
far.
window, from the door.
You're
And
outside the room. Okay.
yeah.
咁跟住咧，佢就覺得咧係嗰個飛碟咧就係出現喺佢哋頭頂上面，然後咧佢話佢唔係真係跟到貼，佢好似大閘，總之睇到就呢個朋友被編咗上去個手術台飛碟裏邊咧，就係 fix 翻佢個傷口，佢就經過個窗口喺外邊咁樣望到，但係佢話佢其實分唔出嗰個狀況咧，究竟係真定假。總之係一個 knowing， 佢係感覺到，佢就知道發生咗係咁樣。
So that was really the second big encounter.
And then this leader was just go back to work.
Then the leader was really, they really operated on him. They made him feel.
Any operation sign?
No, not much sign. There is
Oh,
never
well,
there is
so
never a
hard.
big
But
sign
it's
left.
fun.
Sometimes just a small scar.
Right. Is that a such thing there? Small scar.
Small scar.
Yes.
Yes, small
就
scar
有
there.
少少微創手術嘅少少嘅傷口。咁啊真係外星高科技微創手術發生咗啦。Okay, then.
So then part of the book, I
All
go with, I'm working in the hospitality industry then, and I go with my parents on vacation in south of France by the sea. There, because I was always interested in...
That was in France, yeah?
Still in France.
We skipped the Germany part, right?
Not yet, because Germany is not yet.
Okay.
I'm not in... Germany is for my military service.
哇咁有排啊
when I am 19.
任佢講睇下講到幾多先，一個鐘。
So I go with my parents, and in that particular place there is a lighthouse, a very lighthouse, a big lighthouse.
屋企再去旅行，咁我見到一個燈塔
There
喺
is-
水邊。
Yeah. I meet a fisherman there, a Frenchman who was working on one of the fishing boat, tell me a very, very strange story which happened during a storm. And I describe that story in the book. But part of that story, which involved many aspects, you have to read the book to see that. Part of that story is that there was, during the storm, when they were on the boat, there was a UFO under the water.
即係佢嗰度嗰啲漁民啊，住喺嗰度啲人講咧，佢平時坐個船咧出去咧，喺有時大風大雨打大風大雨打風嗰陣時啦，佢係見到咧水底咧係有 USO 嘅，即係啲不明游水、潛水嘅飛船物體。
That UFO comes out of the water,
哦，出
go
水嘅。
go to a beach, and brought back people and animals.
哦，
on
去
the
到
beach.
佢會飛到喺一個沙灘上面咧。brought back animals and people from somewhere back to that beach.
Yeah, the people and the animals, they don't know
Belong
where from,
there.
but they
They
didn't
don't belong
belong. They
there.
didn't
They
belong.
didn't know what happened.
The people were people from North Mongolia, Tibet.
哦，話帶咗一啲西藏同埋北蒙古嘅人同埋動物翻去佢呢個南法國嘅水邊嘅沙灘度。咁我問佢嗰啲人係咪唔知自己做緊乜嘢？佢話都少少㗎，咁都幾迷茫㗎咁。
Brought back
And they
maybe
were
the wrong
confused.
place. So that can happen.
佢話可
So
能拎錯地方。
that's part of the story. Then later on in my book, I go to my military service. I describe in the book briefly some of the activities I did in the military service. One exercise we had was in Germany with a regiment of paratroopers, because I was also a paratrooper. And we were doing an exercise with different forces, different countries. I had to go under an armored vehicle, small tank, like a small tank, and place a mine underneath. Stick a mine underneath, that, and then come out the other way. That's part of the exercise. But then
Some military exercise.
military exercise.
Stick a
we-
mine under
Yes.
what?
An explosive.
a tank, a vehicle, you know, a vehicle, a military vehicle.
Put a mine underneath a...
Yeah.
So in other words, he has to go into a pit, and over him will drive a military vehicle like a tank, and his job is to put an explosive to fix it on the underside of this vehicle. So it's practicing for warfare.
you put a mine
So
underneath
later
a
it would
vehicle.
explode. All right.
OK， 咁
Yes.
佢哋咧就有一個練習咧，就將一個地雷就擺喺某啲車啊、貨車嘅底下，即係一個軍事練習嚟嘅。
Then what happens? The vehicle stalled, couldn't go forward, couldn't go backwards, and all around me the earth is crumbling,
So he's
the snow,
underneath, right?
and I am underneath, and I'm going to be squashed by the tank. I think it's going, but
佢話佢
again,
如果擺嘅時候咧，突然間咧嗰架車咧嗰啲好似地震裂地咁樣，將架車就嚟冧落去，即係連佢自己都冧埋落去個地底啊！佢唔知點辦。
then
跟住
I
咧，
think about him again.
跟住你就
this-
諗，跟住佢就諗呢個外
this
星人求
person-
救啦。
Called Eudoxus.
佢叫到自己有名嘅。
Eudoxus.
He call himself Eudoxus.
Eudoxus.
How to spell it?
Eudoxus.
Oh, I saw that word. I thought it's kind of pronounced like Exodus, you know.
No,
Judas.
not the same.
Exodus.
Exodus
so
is not
Judas-
Eudoxus,
Judases.
So then he comes, as I really again beg for his help, with the UFO above, picked up the tank, put it aside, and let me get out.
跟住咧，佢亦都係內心求救，咁都希望 call 呢個 Eudoxus 外星人，咁佢就出現再一次咧，就係個飛船喺佢嗰個冧地嗰個車嘅頂，咁然後將呢架車都 pick up，連佢都 pick up 離開呢個地陷嘅地方，就擺喺一個穩陣嘅位，咁就救翻佢。
Now nobody sees.
冇人見到。
Nobody sees because the protection for the UFO is that they can appear or they can disappear and nobody can see them.
Right，
that's
即
part-
係冇人見到成件事，因為見到咧，咁佢就蝦碌咗就會扣分噶嘛。咁成件事咧就冇人見啦。佢就話咧，因為飛船其實係想俾人見或者唔想俾人見咧，完全咧係好容易控制到嘅。So then you don't get a mark deduction from this practice because nobody see, huh? You pass it.
No,
Cheating.
no. The officers saw the incident. They
Oh.
asked me what happened there, but there was
佢上頭有個 officer 見到
There
嘅，
was.
咁都好啊，有證人。
there was a problem with the tank, so I was clear because there was a problem with the tank.
原來架車真係壞壞地。
That's why the tank stopped.
所以停低。OK。
So that's the other activity in the book. One of the, and the last one would be, after my military service, I did some work for France in Congo, and we call it mercenary work. And there I was wounded. I was wounded during an operation because we were saving a lot of foreigners, a lot of people working for embassies.
Why do you call it a missionary work?
Mercenary.
It means paid military work.
OK，
Mercenaries are paid.
not
and
paid。
You are paid.
Paid.
Yeah, paid, okay.
Paid well. Paid very well.
Wow！即係俾佢哋跟住咧，佢下一個古仔其實就去到非洲剛果嘅。咁呢個咧，佢哋做一個任務，其實就係俾錢一啲軍部咧，係好似當係一個project 工程咁。嗱，我俾錢你去做一個工程，就俾錢嘅，所以佢哋叫 missionary work。
Yes.
好啦 ，Africa Congo。
Congo
What is that missionary work? Paid job.
is to do an
Rescue.
extraction. We call it an extraction when rebels, people who are against the government, people who are very, very, very terrible, were killing the foreigners.
因為當地有啲部隊、有啲遊擊隊或者係反叛嘅人啦。
People who work for the embassies, people who are priests.
佢哋咧就會係襲擊殺一啲外國嘅使節啦。
people who are
外國人喺度。
People who are not African, who worked in Congo, they are priests, they are nuns, they are working in hospital, they are teachers, they are working
有教師啊、義工啊、醫生啊、神父修女嘅呢一類嘅志願人士喺度，咁佢哋就當然唔好殺咗佢，唔希望佢哋唔會被殺啦。
And Congo asked France to help them because the president at the time in Congo couldn't control these people. There were many of them and very, very, very savages. So they asked French army to go there. We go. France goes, but you need the mercenary because you need all the help you can get. So our job was to bring back these people to France safe.
Okay.
They kill many, but we saved also many.
When you say many, what is the
We saved. They probably killed about 200, if not more.
Wow.
But we saved maybe 1,800. So.
咁啊，當地咧就個政治局勢就失控嘅，政府其實就保護唔到呢啲志願人士嚟到剛果當地去做一啲義務工作啊，或者外交使節咁，即係呢啲全部都係手無寸鐵嘅文人啦嚇，好心人。咁於是咧，佢哋就希望法國政府去幫手營救呢啲無端端即係純粹因為佢係白人咁就被殺，咁呢個咁嘅現象，佢自己亦都失控。於是咧Mr.B 呢個部隊咧，亦都被要求到咧係收錢嘅嚇，咁啊做一個任務咧就係救翻呢啲白人出嚟。佢話當時咧已經被殺嘅已經有200幾人，咁最後佢哋救翻出嚟嘅係有成9倍有多嚇，1800人嘅。
So I was wounded.
佢係受傷嘅，從呢個任務裏邊。
By an arrow. I was dying.
有支矛刺咗入去。
Very bad.
右腹。
Yeah, and
好弊，好慘。
I was dying.
佢覺得自己死緊㗎啦。
But he came again with the little people, the doctors, and fixed me up.
Oh, so your doctors came with a small ET
doctor? Group, always, yes.
A group of ET doctors.
There is always with him
after
a group of doctors.
After the first time, he always appeared in a group.
After the first time, always appear. There is always people on the spaceship who are doctors or engineers, and they are very.
Are they ET or Earthling?
They are ET.
Okay.
They look like ET.
除咗第一次，佢係第一次喺12歲教會露營嗰時見到係佢一個人出現之外咧。其實咁多次咧，我哋講咗 so far 第4個事件咧，都係有一班人或者上到飛船上面係唔止見到Eudoxus 一個外星人嘅，咁佢哋好多咧，佢覺得係醫生啊，doctors and what?
They are doctors. They are
engineer 係啦，工程師啊。
Some people are engineers.
醫生啊咁樣嘅外星人嘅。咁佢個書面咧，亦都畫咗一個手稿嚇，都係外星人。佢話佢睇落個樣係似外星人。
In that part of the book，
咁睇落咧，我就覺得個頭咧個後尾枕上啲嗰個位係尖咗上嚟嘅。
In that part of the book, they saved my life。
咁就係呢班人咧，呢次咧就救咗佢。中國地大物博 ，UFO 現象包羅萬有，但係可惜數據不詳。咁我哋而家順眾要求，邀請到國內 UFO 目擊調查主管、UFO 活字典，甚至係國內傳媒嘅 UFO icon。咁喺20幾年嚟呢位先生咧曾經參與調查同埋主持新聞論壇節目無數嘅。咁張正平就係我哋將會係下一次6月9號講座嘅嘉賓嘅。佢會展示喺上年香港議會無暇公開嘅大量資料，亦即係佢所有嘅冰山一角嘅資料嘅下集啦。呢一次零距離同國內專家探討 UFO 出現嘅周期性、ET 生理結構、成因，甚至係外星語、星人交流、2012各種問題。而今日嘅題目呢，就係特別係叫做 2012與金星文明、物質觀、生命觀、宇宙觀，好凝重，係一個好信息嘅一個講座，亦都會超爆咁多數據嘅一個講座。最新嘅國內 UFO 情況，頭先講座都講到半，我哋6月9號再聽埋下集啦。翻嚟第二 part， 我哋講 Mr.B 呢位加拿大籍嘅法國作家喺吉林教酒店管理，但係呢，佢就寫咗一本英文書叫做 The Day They Came， 係啱啱先發行嘅。咁我哋有緣識到佢，今日喺度同我哋呢分享佢由南法國去到12歲到21歲從軍喺德國。同埋南法國嘅水邊，甚至去到非洲剛果，最後翻返家鄉呢，裏邊有5-6個外星人嘅巧合咁遇到佢哋嘅故事，其實都唔巧合啦，第一次巧合，跟住以後呢，就係有事情有故事發展來嘅。咁我喺呢度呢，就想補充少少啊，頭先喺咪後呢，Dr. Bickley 呢就同我講，原來呢，即係我補充翻啦，外星人第一次佢見到佢嘅時候呢，見到係12歲教會露營，就見到呢個着紅杯個皮帶上面有嚿石嘅外星人 Eudoxus 咧，其實咧跟住就3個男仔一齊見，但係只係得佢企定，2個就跑走咗。於是佢到下一秒就見到自己咧係裸體瞓咗喺一個飛船上面嘅，好似係個手術床，但係其實冇嘢嘅。佢話有一個 Eudoxus 咧就同埋一班咧似係矮啲，就唔係人樣。即係你可以話係 Grace， 因為我睇佢書面咧，佢個眼都係尖咗咁樣嘅矮啲嘅外星人。咁佢話呢啲係醫生啊 engineer 咁。咁佢就同佢講話你唔使擔心，我哋只係做緊 research 啫。其實我哋久唔久我哋飛去唔同嘅星球咧，就會將你哋當係 sample 咁去 study 下嘅啫。咁即係其實佢哋都幾先進嘅。咁個古仔咧就係去到呢個位，其實佢哋就去好多星球嘅，包括地球，去睇下我哋呢一個物種、人種、品種，去到進化到或者係倒退到去咩地步啦嚇。好，宇宙之大，乜嘢嘅外星生物都有，包括我哋自己都係要俾人 study 嘅。好啦，咁補充完啦，咁好啦 ，Mr.B. Now I finished catching up with that first encounter with Eudoxus. Now we were in the middle of what last time we were talking about. At the end, you were going into this Congo mission. Saving 1,800 people after 200 killed， 救翻1800人，雖然有200人被殺咗，就係當地非洲剛果政治動盪。佢哋請Mr.B 呢個部隊呢，包括佢呢個部隊呢，就係拯救翻呢啲可能被扣留嘅白人。咁最後呢，佢就受傷，就係右腹呢黐咗支長矛呢，佢覺得自己就死㗎啦。咁佢就求救啦。So you ask for help when you have the arrow there.
Yes.I ask for help when I have the arrow through my body. The arrow is very bad, poisoned, infected.
有毒嘅，之前。
Yes, they do that on purpose.
係嘛？非洲啊，係啊，梗係咁。
Yes, and so I am almost dead. Then they appear, Eudoxus and the little surgeon in the hut.It's a hut in Africa, small place. Which
supposedly a hospital, but
no,
it's a hut.
It's a small, it's a small clinic.
It's
a hut.
咁喺個診所其實只係一個茅屋。
Yeah.
咁跟住個the UFO the flying saucer appear.
They were outside. I didn't see them.
You don't
I
see.
was
You just
on the
know.
ground, almost dead.
佢瞓喺地下差唔多死啦。咁佢覺得佢都係得個肢字嘅，睇唔到嘅，飛船喺外邊。And then Eudoxus appear in the hut
and take the arrow out, fix me with a team of surgeons, and they disappear, walk through the wall.
咁呢一位 Eudoxus 人樣嘅外星人帶住佢嘅一隊嘅 小灰人嘅醫生同埋 engineer 各種嘅專家咧，就嚟到掹咗佢支矛 fix 翻佢，整醫翻好佢，跟住咧就穿牆過壁咁行走咗啦，出咗呢間屋仔。
Yeah, that's in this book. So last time for this book that I see them. Last time they saved me.
咁呢個古仔咧就係佢即係呢個喺剛果瞓咗喺個茅屋嘅診所地下，外星人同住一班小灰人嘅專家幫佢掹咗呢支有毒嘅矛，蘇低咧佢就唔使死啦。咁呢個就係成本書裏邊最後佢哋見到外星人嘅古仔啦。Is that the last ET encounter also in your life so far?
No. But there might be another book. There might be another book.
咁可能喺下一本書，佢唔講啦，佢唔講係咪最後一次啦。
So that's situation here. I saved. I go back to the bus. We go back to the airport to save the group of foreigners, and it creates a little concern for my superiors, the people above me, because they cannot understand how I am still alive after I had an arrow through my body. But I say I didn't know. They saw a doctor. They saw a doctor with small nurses, but then they didn't see them again because the UFO left and nobody saw
Did
the
they
UFO.
see the UFO?
They didn't see the UFO.
咁佢嘅上司咧就事後咧醫翻好佢之後咧，佢哋就照舊啦，咁送呢班被營救咗嘅人去機場，咁送佢坐飛機翻去佢哋原本嘅歐洲、美洲嘅國家。咁但係翻轉頭啦，咁個上司就問你又好翻又好好地，頭先我都預咗你真係唔得噶啦，咁你好多咁神奇，咁有啲拗頭。佢話咧，佢哋只係見到真係好似有個人拎住一對矮細嘅護士跟住佢就入嚟，咁但係又唔見到佢走喎，亦唔見到佢嘅最後嘅下落去咗邊。咁佢哋真係有點而拗頭 ，so they really scratch their head, don't know what to think about.
They don't think about it. And I'm going back to France. I went back to a military hospital. And they could not explain either why they saw just a little scar, and everything was fine with me, and I did not die in that expedition.
咁當然啦，成件任務完咗之後，咁翻去佢哋嘅國家 ，is it the hospital in southern France?
Yeah, military hospital in southern.
翻去個軍事醫院度。咁再檢查啦，最後佢只係見到一個小小嘅微創傷口咁滯，咁佢哋解釋唔到，無從解釋 ，can't be explained in the record.
No.
Okay, so the last conclusion from your medical checkup with that little scar is
I was wounded. They knew I was wounded. They knew I was dying, but the doctor came with little people who were helping him, and they told my officer, we need to operate right away because he's dying and he has only a few minutes. So the officer said, okay, do what you have to do. And they went inside the hut. They wanted to be private. They didn't want anybody to come in. And then they didn't see me come out. They didn't see anybody come out. The officer came in. I was okay.
It was a matter of few minutes.
It lasted the whole thing. They say the officers say it could have been 30 minutes.
So from the officer's perspective, outside the hut, it's a matter of 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
You are back from deathbed, back to alive.
Yeah,
with a
and
little
that
wound.
they cannot explain.
即係佢話前後咧喺呢個佢嘅上司喺呢個茅屋診所外邊坐喺度咁睇嘅呢個角度去睇咧，佢其實就前後頂籠就係20零30分鐘嘅事。佢就由一個佢都知要同佢做手術，都知道幾分鐘之內一定要同佢做手術做啲嘢，唔係佢就會瓜老襯㗎啦。到真係可能真係又做唔切嚇，好急迫咁就20零30分鐘都未夠。咁翻去睇下佢，咦冇晒事，一 一啲啲咁多傷口。So he meant to have operation with you in a few minutes, but end up he didn't do anything for 20-30 minutes.
They operated on me for 30. They worked on me for 30
the
minutes.
ET or the officer?
No, not the officer. The officers were out. They didn't come in. Doctors and the team operated on me for 30 minutes.
其實做嗰個小手術嚇，對佢嚟講係小手術啦，其實都要做咗20-30分鐘嘅。即係唔係啫，叮咁 magical， 叮 finish。
They didn't do the conventional way.
畢竟其實咧都係一個正式嘅 conventional， 即係正規嘅手術，只不過高科技，所以咧就可以咁快做完。我哋去公立醫院做手術，排期9個月，去到咁啊手術就前一晚住喺度唔食嘢，然後第二朝咧唔知點樣搞半日乜嘢，咁啊送到你入去個手術床就要搞個零幾個鐘準備，然後先至做嗰唔知幾耐嘅手術，成件事前後係搞幾日。
And I think that operation was to rescue a Jesuit priest. And then he was rescued and he was on the bus. And afterwards, Gerard feels that he knew what had happened because he seemed to be telling you, don't talk to anybody about this. And then later, when he's in the military hospital in France, he's interrogated quite seriously about what happened. Because people are astonished, they can't understand what happened. And then he says, well, he was unconscious. He didn't know what happened. All he knows is that
I
he
could
was
not explain because I was unconscious. So people keep asking me, and all I answer is, I don't know, because I was not awake. So
都好得意啊！咁啊當然啦，咁無端端嚇5-6個字之後，半個鐘頭之後我好翻晒。咁啊做完佢個例行任務，送啲人去機場之後翻嚟，即係最後佢話佢翻去法國。就係俾法國嘅軍部嘅軍人呢，喺醫院度係盤問佢嘅，喂你咩事？邊個人同你整嘅？發生咗咩事？你有乜嘢就1-5-10講出嚟。咁佢乜嘢都講唔到，因為佢當時就真係唔清醒嘅。不過Dr. Gillian 咧都話，Bickley 都話，其實中間呢，頭先白傑連博士都話，中間其實呢somehow呢。外星人係喺佢耳邊或者腦裏邊同佢講嘅，坐緊車去機場嘅時候話：唔使講俾其他人知啦。即係其實應該咧就係Mr.B 係知地有嘢發生咗，咁於是咧外星人唯有同佢講：你知地都好，唔知 OK 就當唔知 OK 咁樣。所以咧到最後翻去法國。俾軍人盤問嘅時候咧，佢都好醒目啦，因為之前啲外星人已經 brief 咗佢啦，唔知下咁佢就話我唔知 ，I don't know， 因為我唔 conscious 嘅，我都暈咗啦，唔清醒嘅，所以唔知。咁所以咧好聰明。So end up there was no problem. They let you go by saying you don't know.
Well, they let me go. They say, well, there is nothing because I wanted to go. So one of my leader for the mercenary came to visit me in the hospital. And
即係佢軍人嘅上頭嚟探佢喺醫院。
I asked him I want to go because I don't in the hospital, like everybody's asking me question I cannot answer.
You want to go means to go leave the hospital or
leave the hospital. I was not in the military anymore. I was a mercenary.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a soldier
like
in
a
civilian
freelance
freelance. That's right. So I left the hospital because we worked with France, of course.
即係我哋咧我做好多 freelance 㗎，係咪啊？你啊，就係得唔得？久唔久啊？on call 做生播開咪，我啊久唔久上嚟開咪。咁啊，即係有錢聽有錢冇邊。我哋有時去教英文上門去 centre 補習 freelance， 不過有一種 freelance 咧就好坑嘅，就係久唔久咧就做翻軍人，走去咧真係好似打仗咁打。不過好唔係啦，美軍啲軍人全部都係收錢打仗，唉，真係好唔得咁嘅樣。好啦，咁佢就同講翻呢度，佢喺佛咧將醫院度就。佢嘅上頭嚟到，即係佢呢個 freelance job 嘅 boss 嚟到問佢，佢話：喂，走啦，我要離開呢個 job， 即係呢個 job freelance 做完㗎啦，我要離開個醫院。咁結果咧，咁就佢呢個 job 就 finish。So this freelance job finish。 after they take you out of the hospital.
Yep. Then I go back to my hometown.
翻返家鄉。
I go to visit my family. They were not very happy of what I did, but
Your family?
Yeah, because I felt we did a great job for the country. But you know, the word mercenary is not really a good word for some people, but it's what people do. You know, we did this, so I did. So I was proud of what I did. But, so I went to see my parents, and then I went to England from there.
OK 啦，頭先我啱先講嘢，哇！俾錢 freelance 去打仗，真係唔係幾好玩係咪？即係好多人都聽到呢個咧，都認為一件唔光彩嘅事嚟嘅。咁啊，頭先 Mr.B 就想補充少少，佢話其實佢覺得咧，佢同佢嘅國家係做咗一件好事嘅。咁好多人就對咁樣收錢打仗咧就不以為然。咁我就其實都要翻去家鄉，即係同爸爸媽媽同老婆仔女交代下，因為佢哋就好唔 happy 佢收錢做埋啲咁危險嘅嘢。不過頭先佢都話係好 pay 嘅，就要解釋下點解要做埋啲收錢咁打呢啲咁嘅仗啊，做埋呢啲咁嘅 freelance job 啦。最後佢話其實佢都係好 proud 嘅做完呢樣嘢，佢覺得佢係冇佢做咗一件好事嘅，佢覺得係。You did a good job, you feel like.
Yes.
Okay.
And remember throughout the book, my parents don't know this because you cannot explain to people really what happened. I could never explain to anybody about the doctors, about the little doctors, about anything. Because as you maybe know, if you say these things, people will think you're crazy.
So throughout this whole story, all these 4 and 5, 6 encounters, did they know anything about what this book talk about aliens?
Nobody.
佢話即係整段時間咧，佢嘅家人係唔知呢個疑似，甚至係佢內心覺得係發生咗嘅外星接觸事件嘅。因為其實屋企人咧都好難同佢哋解釋 ，hard to explain to them.
I do not explain because there was nothing to explain.
我冇有解釋。
It just happened, you know, like I could not explain the priest when I was 12 years old. I have met a Doxus. I could not explain to the Boy Scouts that a Doxus saved my instructor. It just happened, you know, that they went to hospital and he was not seriously wounded. Throughout the army, nobody knew. So nobody ever know throughout the book about the Doxus. It's like a secret between me and him.
好似咧，佢同 Eudoxus 外星人嘅一個好私人，但係一個好堅毅嘅友誼嘅一個古仔。佢話由12歲教會嗰個露營見到外星人 Eudoxus， 佢又唔可以講俾個牧師知。14、15歲童軍露營有意外，差啲個 leader 跌死，嗰個醫翻佢，佢亦都唔可以講俾個童軍嗰個 leader 知。咁呢個其實一路咧就係又唔可以同家人分享，咁到最後佢就將呢本書出咗嚟，一次過公之於世。
So actually he says that Eudoxus tells him you will know when the time has come to tell people. And so now the time has come.
咁就正如 Eudoxus 以前曾經同佢講過，唔使講住，總之咧夠鐘需要講咧，你會知呢個係時候去將呢件事整件事咁公諸於世。我諗而家就係呢個時候啦。The day they came, now this is the time to tell the world.
That's when I say at the beginning of the book, when I felt compelled to write about it,
When
then
was
I did.
Exactly what year?
Yeah, when I decided to write.
Which is what year?
In 2004.
Okay,
Or 2000, year 2000. Year 2000 I start thinking, do some work on it. Year 2004, I start writing very seriously. Then it was time to do it.
咁咧呢個就真係如阿 Eudoxus 咁講啦。喺2000年嘅時候咧，佢開始覺得係 compelled， 好似係有一種內心嘅強迫強制自己，即係唔諗都唔得咁要做呢樣嘢。到2000年佢開始諗要寫呢本書，而2004咧佢就開始去寫呢本書啦。喂，其實我有時都覺得自己好似咁，不過一諗咗10年都未寫。好啦，嗱，最後1分鐘啦，我哋仲有啲咩總結呢？咁我哋今晚呢，就會喺城大個 Garden Cafe，即 即係我哋揾日咧，我哋會飛碟學會成班朋友咧，會同佢再嚟一個親身嘅古仔，佢會再同我哋再講一次個古仔，再多啲少少詳情，再多少少咪後嘅秘密嘅相片啊，諸如此類，同我哋分享嘅一個晚餐啦，喺九龍塘。另外咧，希望咧呢個古仔咧係有朋友咧係會想買呢本書睇，睇完之後咧睇下有啲咩再 follow up。其實我可以請佢嚟我哋年尾嗰個 UFO 議會同我哋講呢個古仔，分享呢個古仔。good idea！ 即係呢本書咧就成本細本，得嗰1 cm 都唔夠嘅 A5 size， 就冇乜圖。希望可以譯咗呢本書。OK， 咁我哋今日咧就好多謝 Mr.B、Mr. Gerard Breissan from Gillian University 吉林大學。咁即係久唔久你都會嚟探我哋，好，下次嚟同你再傾個偈。同埋咧 Dr. Gillian Bickley 介紹我哋識Mr.B。佢住喺愉景灣嘅，可能咧我哋去愉景灣談你。好啦，多謝你哋 ，Thank you very much。
Happy to be here.
Lovely, thank you.
Thank you。